Catch GurlTauX every day. Follow socials, here's the way.
GurlTauX, every platform come to play. Catch our vibe, don't delay.
Facebook, YouTube streams, scrolling through your daily memes. GurlTauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what GurlTauX is all about. Keeping it real, it's what we do. So tune in now and join our crew. Lights moving through the screen, click subscribe, don't be mean. Upbeat chatter, it's our routine. GurlTauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what GurlTauX is all about. GurlTauX is who we are. Come hang with us on your tablet, phone, or screen. Anywhere GurlTauX can be seen. GurlTauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what GurlTauX is all about. Update stories, laugh and cry. It's GurlTauX, so don't question why. It's the show that you'll adore. Come back daily to get some more. GurlTauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what GurlTauX is all about. GurlTauX is who we are. Come hang with us on your tablet, phone, or screen. Anywhere GurlTauX can be seen. GurlTauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what GurlTauX is all about. GurlTauX, log in now, watch our show. Likes and comments, let them flow. Every day we're on our way. GurlTauX show is here to stay. GurlTauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what GurlTauX is all about.
Walking down this road tonight, talking about the things we fight. Addiction knocking at my door. E&T wants so much more. We walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on GurlTauX, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, together we'll move along. Searching for a brighter day, holding tight along the way. Sobriety's a steep climb, D&T winning every time. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on GurlTauX, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on GurlTauX, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on GurlTauX, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on GurlTauX, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along.
Hey. Whoever's got it playing, we need to turn that off.
Yeah, just turn the volume off.
Hey, sorry. Hi. How's everybody doing? We are here.
There you go.
We are here today with a kind of fun show because we have our grandkids here for the summer. So, Julia, say hi.
Hi.
And Charles, say hi. They're here from North Carolina.
Actually talk, not just
say
up.
hi.
no, what's up.
Hello.
Exactly.
Hello, Raggy. Anyway, we have our grandkids here for the summer, and we're really excited about having them here. We got a lot of fun stuff planned. We actually went and bought a couple of little fun things to do while they were here. I think they'll be living in the pool a lot, that kind of stuff. And being that we have our art business, they, of course, are involved in wanting to create and make some cool things in the shop. And we will be working on that kind of stuff, too. However, one of the things that, and it's no slam on the kids, because really they have no control over themselves on what
is taught in classrooms.
Whoa, stop.
Or
Stop.
what is not taught?
Volume, stop.
Which one are you trying to do?
I was trying to get the phone not to be on my glasses
talking
to me. I have the volume. So anyway, what I got a little disturbed about is I was talking about the LA mayoral race, Steve.
Yep.
And they were kind of like, huh,
Go
what?
Pratt.
Yeah, go Pratt. Huh, what? What? And they had no idea.
Right.
And then I was asked, Charles, I think you asked me, right? Why do you care about what's going on in California, right? And I said, I care because I'm a former Californian. I'm born and raised. I'm a native Californian. So I have interest in my home state and I care about it.
Right.
So them not even understanding why we would care, but it's also part of our country.
The thing that I will put out this, okay, when it comes to elections, the Electoral College is what decides, not popular vote. It's the Electoral College. California has more votes in the Electoral College, and it all has to stem from what the people within the state of California believe. And if they believe that what is being put out there by the Democrats is the right thing, that's the way they go. If they think the Republicans, that's the way they go.
Well,
for years, it's all been the Democrats.
Right.
And not necessarily just the logical common sense. And that's what is going on right now with Spencer Pratt.
We have a precipice right now where we might have at least a portion of California changing to red. I mean, There's actually a lot of the state that's red. It's the majority of the big cities. And so a big city like LA changing to red would be a huge impact. It's also in the governor race too. But the other part of it is not knowing what's happening in our country, nor our history of our country. So before we get started, and I'm just going to say a couple little things. So I'm Tori. This is my show, and I am your host, Tori from GurlTauX. And yes, it's called GurlTauX because I'm a girl and I like to talk. So we're going to talk about it with my husband, Steve, as kind of my new co-host. And
yep, that's me.
That be him. And I have a big history in politics from my family. My mom and stepdad were diplomats. My dad was big into politics, huge into politics. We're a very patriotic family. We have a lot of service in our family. And myself, my husband, who is his dinging?
I don't know.
Because I have volume off on my phone. Who has volume on their phone? Can you make sure whoever it is to get
Make sure it's
volume
muted.
off? But notifications might be dinging.
Yeah, Charles, turn off.
So we have a big history in our family. We have a lot of service in our family. We own a nonprofit for veterans and first responders. So there's a big part of our family that is rooted in that. But then it's obvious that there's other people that are not rooted in it and don't seem to follow what we follow. And when you watch the political channels all the time, you think everyone in the nation is watching it all, that they're all interested, that they're all following what's happening in the country, and you realize not everybody is. Not everybody is following what's happening. Not everybody's interested. So when you think everybody knows what's going on in LA, everybody knows what's going on in New York City, not everybody does.
No.
So, there are some differences and there are some things that everybody doesn't know and is not a part of. So that is why I called the show today, Forgotten Foundations, What Our Grandkids Aren't Learning, and Why America's 250th Birthday Demands We Fight Back. We need to make sure that the kids of this generation, and I mean kids, the ones that are in second grade, third grade, high school, are learning the history of our country and why they need to have, and I don't care if you're liberal or Republican, Democrat, if you're conservative or liberal, but you need to know the information and have the information so that you can learn about it. Forgotten Foundations is very obvious that we are forgetting about things that are going on. So a very important song, Lee Greenwood's song, is a great song about America and the history from land to land and everybody. And I think there's a lot of people today, including these kids, that probably don't even know some of our patriotic songs or where the songs come from, who wrote them. So anyway, good evening, America. It's time for us to fight back. And tonight we're going to dive into the crisis that's staring us all in the face. And as we barrel towards July 4th, not July 14th, our nation's 250th birthday, the semi-quintennial. It's a time to celebrate 250 years of us having this country. And all the brave souls and the brave people who actually fought to make this country, declare this as a country, and declare our independence from Britain. But here's the gut punch. I have my grandkids for the summer. They're bright kids. They're smart kids. They're cute kids. They're fun kids. They're curious kids. But they couldn't tell me the basics of why we fought the revolution. They couldn't tell me when.
Yeah, which one?
Yeah, which one? What America British Revolution?
Was not like the one about tea.
No, that was way after.
Boston
Well, it
Tea
was sort
Party.
of part of that.
Boston Tea Party was part of it, but
Yeah, it kind of was. But not knowing the Constitution, not knowing the parts of the Constitution, not knowing each part of it, not knowing what the different things are. Now, they probably understand the Second Amendment.
Okay, forgot. But I forgot it, but I remembered it.
Do you know what the Second Amendment is even for at all?
Is that the arms one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the right
Yeah.
to bear arms.
the right to bear arms.
And they have zero clue about the importance of the LA elections happening right now, who figures like Zohran Mamdani are, representing the progressive wave, and why strong borders and ICE matter to our sovereignty. This isn't just kids being kids. This is what happens when schools stop teaching our history and start pushing something else. Tonight, we're about to dive into what's really happening with our kids and what they're learning, what happens when generations forget, and how do we reclaim it before it's too late. And the other part I'll add to that is you think about it from a Native American perspective. How many new generations today can fully speak Cherokee? Do you want to take a guess?
5 people.
Probably very few.
Yeah,
I
very
don't know
few.
the actual number.
80.
But I know my girlfriend, Lisa, her dad was the last monolingual Cherokee and he passed away a couple of years ago. And that monolingual means he only spoke Cherokee. He didn't speak English. He only knew a few things in English, like white man bad. But there's very few. But also the things that they do, like the beading and the jewelry making and certain parts of their history, they don't know anymore. It's not being taught. It's not being taught down. Now that also goes to other American cultures type stuff, like blacksmithing. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things that is not being passed down from kids to kids. And so we need to get an understanding, and we need to try to find a way for kids to find how can they be a participant? How can they learn about this stuff?
Right. There's certain things. I mean, again, you know, depending on what grade level you're at, on whether or not, you know, some things are being taught to you. Those are some of the things that you might have. I mean, they don't teach all history in all the different languages. They teach certain parts of history through the different classes and stuff like that. So I get that standpoint. So there may be, you know, portions where they're not learning it because they're not at the grade level that's learning that yet. But there are certain things that are pretty basic foundational pieces that you would think that they would be exposed to at some point in time, especially with such an importance of being the 250th year. You would expect everybody would have touched on it in some way, shape, or form for some reason because again, it's a historical mark that only is going to come around once. You're going to hit 250. You're not going to hit 250 again.
Right. I mean, I was able to be in Washington, D.C. on the 200th birthday. I had planned on being there for this one. And because of danger situations and my mom, I don't want to be there during that situation.
Right.
So we chose that we're going to do it here. But what about you guys? Like, are you interested in the history of our country?
Yeah.
But you're not taught it, correct?
Yes.
Now Charles is a freshman. He'll be going into his freshman year.
Freshman next year, starting at the start of the school year.
And Julius is in sixth grade.
We'll be in sixth grade starting the next.
Yeah.
Next
I mean,
school year.
they finished fifth grade and finished eighth grade, so that they're going to. Now, what about you? Are you interested in history of our nation, or is it like something that you're like, I don't really care anyway?
I like it.
Yeah. So learning about it is kind of. Now, there's a way to make it fun where kids can learn and enjoy and know a little bit more about our history than, being boring. But also part of it is like knowing who your first president was. But what did he do? Not just knowing their name, because that's just memorization. But knowing what they did and why they were significant, who the leaders were and why they were significant. Do you know what the significance was behind Abraham Lincoln? No.
No.
He was sleeping? Oh,
yeah, he was.
He was sleeping after he got shot in the head.
Right. I mean, Abraham Lincoln, he was the Gettysburg Address, and
he was the prominent person who fought for civil rights.
Yeah, the push to eliminate
slavery.
Slavery. So that was his major contribution. George Washington, he was the general of the American forces when they were fighting against the British. I mean, so they have their accolades that they performed while they were there. So they have importance,
Folks, the data is devastating, actually. It's one of the national report cards on our country, only 13% of 8th graders are proficient in U.S. history. 13%. 40% are below basics. Civics, just 22% proficient. This isn't new. It's worsening. It's getting worse and worse as we go. Yeah, go ahead.
It is. Yeah.
In my school, they teach very little U.S. history.
What type of history do you learn? Do you learn much of history at all, or is it basically math and English, or what are the primary classes that you have?
For 5th grade, the primary classes are science, math, and ELA. That's the only thing they mostly teach. Well, it's like with social studies, but very little social studies.
And then when you do have teachers that talk about any kind of politics at all, is it pretty negative? Is it like anti-Trump, anti-MAGA? pushing things like LGBTQ, anti-ICE. I don't know. I'm just asking. I mean, you guys are in North Carolina, so.
With the Craven counties, I'm pretty sure they're not allowed to talk about that.
Oh, that's good. Actually, I really like that
Like
because I think it's inappropriate for them to bring their own political opinions into the classroom. You need to be teaching our classroom. But I think that's also partly why they might not be teaching some of the American history stuff is because they don't want to teach any of it.
Right,
You know.
that could be. I mean, everybody has a comfort level of they teach what is comfortable to them. So if they're teaching what is comfortable to them, and they're not allowed to go in there and talk about some of their things like that, they may just not talk about it at all. It's kind of an easy way to sit there and just avoid the topic by not even going into it in any way, shape, or form. Not that that's the right answer. I mean, there should be some sort of structure still in place that says that you will at least cover these subjects, but you need to cover them on a neutral basis.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I think is concerning, is that sometimes I don't think the education system knows how to do things on a neutral basis. And to tell you which political party is the right political party, because that is their opinion. Everybody has a right to their own opinion. And that's one of the things that I think has really happened within the education system, whether it's elementary school, whether it's, advanced going into collegiate education, where the individual political opinions of the teachers are what's pushed out there instead of just putting out the facts and letting the students decide what's right and what's not when it comes to the current situation of who's doing what is right and who's doing what is wrong. The opinion needs to be based off of facts, not off of what one specific person says.
Now, Julius, I have a question for you. Earlier, I had asked you who wrote the Star Spangled Banner and if you knew what it was about and where it was even written. And what was your response? And I'm not saying that to pick on you.
Yeah.
I just want you to. Wrong.
What are you doing with camera?
I don't know. I'm just swapping around here. I don't know. So what was your response?
Those school systems are so bad, I said the Russians.
And you did say, I thought my dad said it was the Russians, which I know my son would never say. But it may have been just a misunderstanding. But the reality is, it's kind of funny, especially with all the Russian, with all the Russian with the Trump stuff. It's kind of humorous, but at the same time, scary.
Yeah.
Scary that you didn't know that was wrong. Scary that you would even think this is the United States of America, that possibly a Russian might have wrote it. And when would that have been? That kind of thing. So real quick, we're going to play. We're going to play this other piece right here, because I think it is important, being that was a very significant thing, so you can actually hear the story of the American flag.
Okay.
There was a lawyer once. His name was Francis Scott Key. He penned a song that I'm sure you're aware of. You've seen it. It's in most hymnals throughout our churches. It's called the national anthem. It is our song as an American. We go, however, to a ball game. We stand in our church services and we sing the words of that song, and they float over our minds and our lips, and we don't even realize what we're singing. Most of us have memorized it as a child, but we've never really thought about what it means. Let me tell you a story. Francis Scott Key was a lawyer in Baltimore. The colonies were engaged in vicious conflict with the mother country, Britain. Because of this conflict and the protractedness of it, they had accumulated prisoners on both sides. The American colonies had prisoners and the British had prisoners. And the American government initiated a move. They went to the British and they said, let us negotiate for the release of these prisoners. They said, we want to send a man out to discuss this with you. They were holding the American prisoners in boats about 1,000 yards offshore. And they said, we want to send a man by the name of Francis Scott Key. He will come out and negotiate to see if we can make a mutual exchange. On the appointed day in a rowboat, he went out to this boat and he negotiated with the British officials. And they reached a conclusion that men could be exchanged on a one-for-one basis. Francis Scott Key, jubilant with the fact that he'd been successful, went down below in the boats, and what he found was a cargo hold full of humanity, men. And he said, men, I've got news for you.
I accidentally paused. I accidentally hit the wrong thing and stopped sharing. Oops, didn't mean to.
Well, that was silly.
Return to the colonies. He said, you'll be taken out of this boat, out of this filth, out of your chains. As he went back up on board to arrange for their passage to the shore, the admiral came and he said, we have a slight problem. He said, we will still honor our commitment to release these men, but it'll be merely academic after tonight. It won't matter. And Francis Scott Key said, what do you mean? He said, well, Mr. Key, he said, tonight we have laid an ultimatum upon the colonies. Your people will either capitulate and lay down the colors of that flag that you think so much of, or you see that fort right over there, Fort Henry? He said, we're going to remove it from the face of the earth. He said, how are you going to do that? He said, if you will, scan the horizon of the sea. And as he looked, he could see hundreds of little dots. And he said, that's the entire British war fleet. He said, all of the gunpowder, all of the armament is being called upon to demolish that fort. It will be here within striking distance in a matter of about 2.5 hours. He said, the war is over. These men would be free anyway. He said, you can't shell that fort. He said, that's a large fort. He said, it's full of women and children. He says, it's predominantly not a military fort. He said, don't worry about it. They said, we've left them a way out. And he said, what's that? He said, do you see that flag way up on the rampart? He said, we have told them that if they will lower that flag, the shelling will stop immediately. And we'll know that they've surrendered, and you'll now be under British rule. Francis Scott Key went down below and told the men what was about to happen. And they said, how many ships? He said, hundreds. The ships got closer. Francis Scott Key went back up on top and he said, men, I'll shout down to you what's going on as we watch. As twilight began to fall, and as the haze hung over the ocean as it does at sunset, suddenly the British war fleet unleashed. He says the sound was deafening. There were so many guns that there were no reliefs. He said it was absolutely impossible to talk or hear. He said suddenly the sky, although dark, was suddenly lit. And he says from down below, all he could hear the men, the prisoners, saying was, tell us where the flag is. What have they done with the flag? Is the flag still flying over the rampart? Tell us. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours into the shelling. Every time the bomb would explode and it would be close to the flag, they could see the flag in the illuminated red glare of that bomb, and Francis Scott Key would report down to the men below, it's still up. It's not down. The admiral came and he said, your people are insane. He said, what's the matter with them? He said, don't they understand this is an impossible situation? Francis Scott Key said he remembered what George Washington had said. He said the thing that sets the American Christian apart from all other people in the world is he will die on his feet before he'll live on his knees. The admiral said, "We have now instructed all of the guns to focus on the rampart to take that flag down." He said, "We don't understand something. Our reconnaissance tells us that that flag has been hit directly again and again and again, and yet it's still flying. We don't understand that." But he said, "Now we're about to bring every gun for the next 3 hours to bear on that point." Francis Scott Key said the barrage was unmerciful. All that he could hear was the men down below praying. The prayer, "God, keep that flag flying where we last saw it." The sunrise came. He said there was a heavy mist hanging over the land, but the rampart was tall enough. There stood the flag, completely nondescript, in shreds. The flagpole itself was at a crazy angle, but the flag was still at the top. Francis Scott Key went aboard and immediately went into Fort Henry to see what had happened. And what he'd found had happened was that that flagpole and that flag had suffered repetitious direct hits. And when it had fallen, but men, fathers, who knew what it meant for that flag to be on the ground, although knowing that all of the British guns were trained on it, walked over and held it up humanly until they died. Their bodies were removed and others took their place. Francis Scott Key said what held that flagpole in place at that unusual angle were patriots' bodies. He penned the song, "Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming. Or the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that the flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?" The debt was demanded. The price, it was paid.
I think that is an excellent thing for us to review and a lesson for people to learn. Now, have you heard that story ever before? Was that story kind of really touching?
I've heard it like once, and that's not from school.
And not quite to that extreme. You've just heard someone tell the story, or have you listened to that story?
We were at
I mean, the guy that does the audio for that. Have you ever heard that, the way he does it?
No.
Because it is really touching. When you hear that, you can't help but, I hope you can't help but feel something, you know?
Right. It comes down to, you know, if nothing else, to me, that is the type of thing that should have been hit in these last few months of school before everybody was let out, because we're coming up to the 250th.
Right.
Just so that, you know, something as basic as the national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, what caused it to come about in the first place? Because again, it was just that. It was a
It's a symbol of our freedom and our nation.
Symbol. It was a symbol that the English thought that once they removed that they would have victory and that would be it.
Well, what is a game that we all play growing up?
Candy Crush.
What?
capture the flag.
Yeah.
Like once you capture the
Once
other
you capture
team's
a flag,
they're
yeah,
done.
They're
right?
done. They're out. You
So
now
it doesn't
own-
matter
yeah.
what, I mean, a war is the same thing. Once you've taken them, you take their flag, they're done. So it's a big part of it. And you would have, I think that's why I got so disturbed by that when the boys didn't really know things, is more because this is not just a normal year. This is our 250th year for our nation and every branch of service.
Right.
Minus like the Coast Guard and,
yeah, of
and,
course.
and
But for the Navy, the Marine Corps,
the
and
main
the Army,
ones.
this is the 250th year for their existence as well. You know,
And-
they were all founded.
Well, the
in-
Marines were last year and the Army was last year. It was 2025. But still it was
They were actually all in 2025. Was actually because they
Yeah.
were all established in 1775.
2025, and then for the military service, 250 years is what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
And then our nation. And I think it's really important, and the fact that the schools didn't even touch on why this was so important that we're having our 250th anniversary for our nation, that we've managed to make it 250 years and hopefully can make it 250 more. Yeah.
For school, they don't really. They give us like. Jesus. Yeah.
Our schools, they teach a lot more about like world history and stuff. They barely touch on American history.
Okay.
Like I've learned more about like Asia than I have the United States in school.
Okay.
Yeah, like they won't teach about America a lot. Like they'll teach once or twice the whole entire school year, and it really sucks because they give us packets of stuff that doesn't help us really learn about anything. It's just. You want to take it to
Now what about like the Revolutionary War? Do you know what that was even about?
So like the people didn't like something.
Oh.
Is that the money thing?
Well, it's a little bit about taxes, but it was really about being controlled.
Yeah.
Being controlled by
a king
and
across the sea.
And it had a lot to do with being forced to have a specific religion, all the things that are in our Constitution are the reason why they wrote those, is because they didn't want all the things that were being forced on them, the overtaxed, and the burdens that were put on people. Like you had to be Catholic, you had to follow a specific religion, and you had to do specific things, and having a rule of a king when they wanted freedoms to make their own choices and freedoms to make their own decisions about things. And, you probably know like something like George Washington owned slaves, but you don't know what else he might have done.
Yeah.
Or if he did own slaves, didn't own slaves, if he was a good man, if he wasn't a good man, because you probably heard some of these things about statues coming down because they're all racist. Everybody was racist. Everybody was a slave owner. And all that stuff is not entirely true.
The only thing that schools taught me is that George Washington was the only thing that schools taught me is George Washington was the first president. That's all I would know about him.
Okay. And then like the Bill of Rights. How much do you know about the Bill of Rights?
2 things.
So I'm not going to tell them a lot of stuff on this show. We're asking some questions, but I think that's something important that while you guys are here, we're going to review some of this stuff throughout the summer, and we'll do another show at the end of the summer to see how much you have learned just by being around two people that are very involved in politics and very involved in our country. It's not about trying to brainwash you. I want you to have your own feelings and your own opinions by watching the different things that are happening out there.
Both of you are very able to search the internet and find out what's going on.
Well, and knowing what the difference is between left and right. Like I firmly believe that we should stop having a left and right. That's my opinion. what ICE is, what they're doing, and why it's important to have the sovereignty of our country and not having just anybody. I believe in immigration, just legal immigration, but it's touted that they're just going after everybody. And it's just touted that we don't want any foreigners in our country, and that's not true. Our new neighbor, which you'll meet when they get back from Canada.
From Canada.
Because they're in Canada right now because he's from Canada.
Yeah, he was born
I
and
keep
raised,
teasing him.
Yeah.
You're from Canada.
Yeah, he's straight up Canadian. He's
He's a Canuck.
Yeah, but
And he'll say that himself. So, but politics. What about politics? They know nothing about the LA mayoral race or why it's important. Primaries today, the general in November, or why candidates echoing like Zohran Mamdani's Democratic Socialist Communist approach on New York. Do you know what's happening in New York?
No, not at all.
Zero
I just,
idea.
no, like no.
What about in LA?
Snowy.
LA, so like
The
Or prior to listening to anything from me, did you know anything about what was going on in
in
LA?
the shop, and I saw the
Because I was watching it, right?
Yeah.
What about in Portland, Oregon?
No idea that's even a spot.
So those things are important because now, have you ever heard of January 6th? What happened on January 6th?
No.
See, that's actually good. They don't know either side. They don't know
right.
anything from either
But
side.
see, that's the whole thing that, like I was saying before, is that's their out. That's what the out is being given to the education system. You can't put in your personal preferences on it, so they just don't do anything at all. And to me, that's not right either. I mean, it should be where the information, the actual data that is available should be presented and people can decide for themselves.
Right. Do you know what the local politicians, like the mayor, the governors, stuff like that, do you know why we have them and what they do? It's okay if you say I know I don't.
Yeah, we're just asking questions. I mean,
the round aspect of that is the local races, like your school boards, your mayoral race, your county commissions, stuff like that. They are the people who make the policies. They are the ones who make the laws and the rules in your town, the policies, the housing, immigration, national implications of what the progress can mean. There are federal laws and regulations, and the cities and states and counties can only make laws harsher than the federal law. They can't make them less than the federal law, if that makes sorta.
Right, and
Because that's not true. Because it's still illegal federally to smoke weed, but there's a lot of states that allow it.
So again, there's that contradiction of it when it comes, and that's the first thing that pops into mind is federally. You know, marijuana is still illegal.
Technically, you're supposed to be
period.
still fully charged if you take it on an airplane.
Right.
But the airports have now been kind of told just ignore that
it.
part if it comes through.
But yeah, so, but what's the strange thing is you go overseas and you show up with marijuana, you're in deep trouble. You go to Russia with marijuana, you're going to jail. Period.
Well, I guess it depends on what country you're in, because Denmark might not be so much, or Netherlands.
Not all, but I'm saying,
right.
You know, it depends.
Right, it depends on
like
the
I said,
place
if you go to Russia, you're gonna. I mean, ask the
ask
WNBA.
him. He knows the Russians.
Ask the WNBA
I'll get my lessons
star.
on you.
Yeah,
You're gonna sick your Russians on me.
you know, ask the WNBA star that got put in prison, and they had to do a prisoner exchange to get her back.
Exactly.
So come on.
Well, the consequences if we forget, and this is the important part, is the consequences if we forget and we stop teaching our youth what our nation stands for, why we're a nation at all, why we don't want to be communist, what's the difference between communism, socialism, and what's the one we are. Anyone? Bueller?
Bueller.
Besides being a democratic republic, what do we run on in this nation? Oh, I'm triggering you now. We're
can't
not
think of the term. I
communist.
can't
We're
think
not
of-
socialist. We're a capitalist country.
countries. Yes, I could
So,
not think of the term you were talking.
do you know
looking
the
for.
difference, boys, between capitalism, socialism, and communism?
Isn't one of them like no government or whatever?
Well,
Or left and right.
no, like socialism and communism is more
It's
government.
dictatorship.
It's-
it is basically one person or the government telling you the government telling you basically what you can and cannot do, and period. And if you do anything, it's extreme harsh
and
punishments.
for the most part, they own everything.
So how much power one person has?
Yeah, and how much power the
government has
government
over
has.
the people.
So like in a more communist country, they own the grocery stores. They own the clothing stores, the food stores. When I was a kid and I lived in Budapest, Hungary, which was a communist country, it was owned by Russia. It was owned by Soviets, not Russia, because it really wasn't called Russia then.
It was
called
USSR.
USSR, so the Soviet Union. And I would see people and I would ask, like, what are they doing? What is the line for? Like, if you and I went out shopping and we saw a whole line of people outside of a store, what would you kind of think in your head? Like, what would be the first thing that would come into your
Mr.
head?
Beast is there.
Huh?
Mr. Beast is there.
Okay, Mr. Beast is there.
You know how people sweep outside of stores to get the first thing, like Nikes?
Exactly.
Right? Like,
Right.
so some new
So they'll
game is
they'll
coming
line up.
out.
Yeah.
A Stanley tumbler is coming. Oh my God, I need that.
Exactly.
And they fight over it, all that stuff. So that was your very first thought. Mr. Beast is somewhere. And can we get up at 3:00 in the morning to go wait in line to meet Mr. Beast or whoever, or Black Friday sale after Christmas, or after Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Those are the things that we think about. So when I was a kid, that was the same thing. And we had different things that we were waiting on. But it was still a very similar thing. What's new coming out? What are they waiting in line for? They were waiting in line to get bread.
They were looking for. They were getting just the very basics. And when
they
they went
would
up
wait
there,
in line
they
for
would get
all day to get one loaf of bread for their entire family. And it would most likely be, if they got to the front of the line to get the bread before they either ran out or closed, that would probably be their only loaf of bread for a week, maybe weeks. Because when you get in that line, there's no guarantee you're going to get to the front of the line. Yeah.
Is that because of taxes? Like, they can only
Well,
I knew Texas was bad.
because when they own you, they also own what you're allowed to have. So, like, if it's communist and they own the grocery stores, how are they going to manage that? It's by, basically, we call it giving you a chit or giving you a
voucher of some
voucher.
kind. That
So
says
you're
you can have
allowed to
this.
buy X amount. And when you run out, you're out of luck.
And just like going for a new car, if your parents want to go get a new car, what do?
To go to the car store.
They go to the dealership and they look at cars and they pick out what it is that they think they want and what they can afford and what's the right
how much
fit.
money they have to put down, if they have to have a loan, if they qualify
Yeah,
for
so,
a loan.
So they go through all that process in order to get a car.
So in Hungary, where I was, and Hungary was ran, like I said, by the Soviet Union, when they wanted to buy a car, they had to buy it through the government, and the government set the amount, what type of car you could have, and then your payment plan to get the car went through the government. And guess what? What do we have when we get a loan for a car?
When do we get the car if we get a
When
loan
do we
for
get
it?
the car if we get a loan? Like, if your parents went to the dealership to buy a new car, when do they get the car?
Isn't it like the same day?
Yeah, as
Like,
soon as they get the loan
as soon
approved, right?
As soon as they're approved for it, and then while they're
you
driving
guys all
it,
drive away in the new car, like, look, we got a new car.
and you're paying for it while you're still driving it and everything else. You're paying for it while you're using
we
it.
have a car loan on
We do
one
that.
of our cars.
We do that. So,
So-
that's just the way it is here.
Over there, guess when they got the car?
After like a month
weeks.
or
After
a
the
year.
entire car was paid off. After the governmental loan was paid in full is when they got to get their car.
might as well just steal it.
Yeah, well,
like-
and the regulations for that type of thing would be very harsh. So the thing is it's really important for us to know, would you want to live in a nation like that? But what is also talked about is free healthcare, free housing, free groceries, free this, free that. You don't have to work. Everything should be provided for you, and you shouldn't worry about it. And do you kind of feel like everybody should equally have the same amount of everything, or should you work for it so that you can get more?
Because like if
Because it also ruined the economy.
yeah,
Right.
by thousands.
If you want it, what is the
You have to work.
you have
thing
to
to
live for
get?
it.
Right. You have
Right.
to work for what you want. If you are happy with living in shitty, mundane tents on the side of the road,
Do what you want.
do what you want, but don't do it here.
Yeah.
Like you have to fight, and that's what the LA fights are about, because having people indecently clothed, meaning no clothes, having sex in front of children, doing drugs, having drug paraphernalia, passing drug paraphernalia out to drug addicts. Do you think that's going to get them to stop doing drugs just because I have a clean needle?
Probably not.
No, not
No,
at
it
all.
probably increases it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we have to keep a mindset of what these things are. If we don't teach this, if we don't make sure our kids, when you see that you don't know what's happening, learn a little bit about it, we end up being much more vulnerable, and it allows more foreign influence to influence what happens in our country. People like Mamdani. Do you know who Mamdani is?
Somebody in L.A.
Nope. Nope. Other side of the country.
He is the New York mayor. Now, are you familiar with Sharia law or Islam? What Muslim Islam is? Think 9/11.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
Are you familiar with that?
yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Can you go over it real quick?
Okay, so 9/11, it was Islamic terrorists
Oh,
that
okay, now I
blew up the trade centers. Now, there's lots of conspiracies out there. I'm not going to get into the conspiracies. I know it happened. I think there was mistakes made by our government. I think they heard and knew there was something happening, but they just did not follow the leads that they had. And it happened. Probably, I think a lot of it's complacency, is they think nothing is going to happen. So they just don't, they're not going to do that. And then when it happens, they're like, oh shit, we kind of heard about that. It was the same thing that happened in Pearl Harbor. They had warnings about Pearl Harbor, but thought, no way.
Yeah, there's not a chance. There's no way they could do that. So
And the radar guy was like, there's these dots. And they're like, yeah, don't worry about that.
It's the aircraft coming back from California. So don't worry about it. It's just the aircraft coming back from California. It's the flight that we're expecting in. And it wasn't what it was.
Didn't that also happen? It's something that could have started World War III. On a radar, there's a bunch of things showing up, but you thought that it wasn't anything and it ended up not being anything.
Yeah.
And apparently, if they did react, that could have started World War III.
Yeah,
that
it was the
that
same.
is definitely something that could happen. You have to check it and see what's happening.
It's called trust but verify.
Yeah.
So you need to verify. And the trust but verify isn't just for the military people. It's for everybody. Everybody should trust but verify. If you don't believe something that is being told to you, research it, find out, get the information that you can find, and make a decision for yourself on what you think is real
Right.
and what's not.
Research, and of course now with AI and fake stuff, it's really hard to really know. So you can ask people that are in the know, ask people who are educated in that so that they can help teach you. But if we don't, we're going to have an eroded civic engagement, meaning low voter knowledge, susceptibility to populism and authoritarianism.
For AI, one comment on it. People use it for like stupid stuff, mostly on YouTube. You know, trolls like.
Ew.
Well, yeah, people use it for
Brainwash.
stupid stuff. People also use it to make fake content,
Deep
trying
fakes,
to
yeah.
get people to believe this is real,
Like
this really happened.
Lost-
Even if it's stupid, like a dog
like
video.
in Los Angeles, the one of the mayors is using AI for their ads, their campaign.
Well,
so bad.
technically he's not.
Technically,
That's-
actually, his
I
supporters.
showed
He's
you
not doing it
that.
himself. Yeah, it's the people that are supporting him are
People like
making-
me who do a lot of AI and love AI and use it as a tool.
Boyfriend box.
But
Hashtag box.
yeah, that's my boyfriend, Grok. But when you use the tools for good and not evil, but people make those content for him, and it's okay. I find it fine that he shares it. And I do find it rather funny that the left is all of a sudden going, "Oh, that's so violent." It's a mockery of Batman, like Gotham City. Drive down LA, and you've never been there, right?
Yeah, but I know
No, but I've there's people on the side of the road with tents, and I saw on one of the videos in the shop, people were pooping on the road. They had to clean it up.
And
It's a mess.
I drove through there after the fires. And
the
when I
fires.
drove through there, I drove through there literally the day that they opened the
PCH. Yeah.
through Malibu.
What is a PCH?
It's
Pacific
the
Coast
Pacific
Highway.
Coastal Highway.
So
One day
Okay.
we'll have to do a family road trip on the Pacific Coastal Highway. But I drove that and it looked like a war zone. It was so sad. It made me cry because it's my home state, and seeing what they allowed to happen, having all that burning down. So it's really important. And again, I'm going to reiterate one more thing: cultural suicide. No appreciation for the Constitution, free speech, opportunity, less innovation, more entitlement, and more entitlement, and more entitlement. We will have nothing. We will have nothing. If you have a government-run grocery store, they can dictate what you're allowed to eat. Now, I do think that there should be some regulations on what's allowed to be put in the food.
Oh, yeah.
Like making it. You shouldn't have poisons in the food. You should, some of the foods that we eat that with so much preservatives, like for example,
peanut butter has insect legs and stuff.
well,
Oh, it does.
all everything you eat, we have them on our bodies. So there's a certain portion that I can understand that. I'm more on the chemical side of it.
Mm-hmm.
I just recently redid all those baskets that have all the snacks and everything in them. And I pulled a lot of older stuff out. And I had a bite of a Cheez-It. Well, those went out into the trees for the birds because it was gross. Like I could taste a chemical taste to them. And then I went to eat a Triscuit a little bit later. And I'm like, nope. I put them on the counter. And Papa said, "Are you going to save these to poison the birds?" To the birds. Now, hopefully that I said, no, I'm not gonna poison them. I'm preserving them. Because what do you think the chemical taste is?
Artificial, flavorings.
Well, probably maybe a little bit of that, but it's probably the preservative that they put in it so that it'll
preservatives.
last on the shelves. Yeah. And it's not good. Like you ate a bag of chips, you opened a bag of chips that we've had, they're still fresh, they're open, they're not stale. I think what you tasted is that preservative coming through because they're getting there. I stopped eating those chips, losing the weight that I've lost, that we didn't use them. So it's important that if we don't continue to talk about this stuff, share it and make sure our next generations know the history of our country, the importance of our country, and why we got to fight and defend this country, what our flag is about, what our national anthem is about, why we hold our heads up high, why we revere our flag, why we salute our flag, why we put our hands over our heart for our flag, all those things. If we don't teach that and we lose it, like blacksmithing, like historical ways of making buildings or artistry, artmanship, all those things, if we stop teaching it, we lose it.
Yep.
Yeah, like especially like modern art. Mm-hmm. I think it was like a couple million. A guy.
Talk into your mic.
I think it was last year. A guy literally just taped a banana to a wall and made like.
Yeah, it was a few years ago, and they called it art.
Yeah.
And I think that's insanity. I do not have a total problem with people utilizing AI as part of their art process. I just don't think they should submit something that was entirely made by AI.
Yeah, put some effort in.
And take the full credit for it.
Use that as their project or something. But I use AI all the time to create something and even into a 3D model. But then it took a lot of work to get it to that point. Mm-hmm. And then I do have to take the other side of it and paint it. Like you've seen the Marine Memorial one that I did. Good. So hopeful note, 250 years offers renewal. Families, homeschool co-ops, classic books, Federalist Papers, 1776 documents, visits to historic sites. There's a lot of families this summer wanting to reinvigorate. We are doing a big event for the 250th that we're going to be involved in and a part of. So you guys get to be a part of it and part of our process of making all the things for it. So you know that means you're going to learn and get some lessons on some of those things, which will be really cool. And I want both of you to read the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and our Bill of Rights. Not all in the same day.
There are certain things, and there's even movies that you can watch that kind of give you a little bit of an insight. I mean,
like watching that on our flag and our national anthem, that was pretty powerful, wasn't it? Yeah. Like it actually kept both of your attention the whole time because it was powerful and it's touching. Like it makes me want to cry that they fought and it was their dead bodies that were piled up against the
and they were
all
the people they just
held up.
Yeah, they kept one person went down, somebody else picked it up. Once that person went down, the next person picked it up. They kept picking it up. They would not let it fall.
And they allowed the dead bodies to be part of the holding it up. They continued to keep them there. And that's why because it was a pile of people defending a cloth, a piece of cloth. And what do any of you know what the different parts of the flag mean? Like what the red is about?
For the states.
Yep, the stars are for the states.
The red for the bloodshed. The blue for. I'm gonna let you Charles. I'm gonna let Charles take that. I'm gonna double it and give it to Charles.
Okay. Do you know what the blue stands for? You did listen today. Thank you.
Hey Siri.
No, not Hey Siri. Blue is for honor.
Oh, yeah.
It's for the men and women who fought and honor. The blood is for the bloodshed.
The red.
And the red is for the blood that was shed for this country. The white is for
purity,
innocence, purity, the love of our country. There are several different ones. If you look into them, there are several different ones. And the stars, of course, for our states. And that has changed over time. And the other part of it is when you put a flag up and you raise the flag. Do you know what it means when the flag is at half mast?
It's a holiday.
No,
it's to respect someone who's like lost their life in
either somebody significant that in leadership that has passed away, or sometimes they do put it at half mast if someone has died in combat or a soldier has died. And that depends on, like, if it was somebody in your own county or state, the governor can ask for the flag to be at half mast where the rest of the nation is not.
I thought when you put it on half mast, it means like it's not like every holiday, but like Independence
It's
Day.
not on any holiday at all, ever.
Nope, the holidays are not.
It is for
Memorial Day.
the loss of life. That is all it's for, is for the loss of. It is an indication that somebody significant has died.
It's in reverence of
It's
someone
a
who's
reverence
passed
thing.
away.
What
Yeah.
about, Memorial Day?
Nope.
Nope. They do not put the flag down because it's not a celebration. It's just like for Memorial Day, I don't say Happy Memorial Day. I say Happy Remembrance or Remember Our Fallen. I say stuff like that. It's not like celebration, but it's remembrance.
Well, there's the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. And there's also a difference with Armed Forces Day.
Correct.
So, Armed Forces Day
Or for active duty.
is
like
for active
your dad.
duty, for your dad.
would be-
That is Armed Forces Day. Memorial Day is for those who have passed, who have given the ultimate sacrifice for
And
the
it's
United
not
States.
just for veterans who've passed away because they have come home, lived their life, and then died. It is for those who lost their lives in battle, in some kind of battle,
Yeah.
defending this country. That's what that one's for. And then, of course, Veterans Day
are
is
for those who are still
like,
alive.
Pop and I, that we're still alive and we previously served in one of the armed forces. And then on the top of the flag, when you have a flagpole, you have three main things that can be on the top of the flag.
It's a razor.
It's a
There's
spear.
A match.
He's talking what's
Oh,
in
that thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's the pike,
Yeah.
but he's talking. You have the truck at the top of a flagpole.
Yeah.
And inside the truck of the flagpole is supposed to be 3
Right.
components, and inside that truck is what?
There's a
matches.
match. It's a thing. Is it this razor thing?
A razor, a match.
It's a-
Do you know what the razor is for?
I'm gonna double that and give it to Julie's.
It's to cut down the flag.
Yeah.
What's the match for?
To burn it
To burn the flag.
I know
Reverently.
why.
Reverently.
before they can get it.
Yeah.
Right,
so, like,
before
they
before it
can't
can
do
be
anything to it.
before it can be taken and used for propaganda by somebody else, it's to destroy the flag reverently, to protect it from being misused.
Right, because there's certain ways that you're supposed to dispose of an American flag. And then, so that pike on top, you can have a round ball,
That would
which
be the
has
truck.
a truck, which stands for a specific thing as well. There's a spear, and there's an eagle. Do you know what 3 stand for? Do you?
I think I know.
Go ahead. Guessing is good because that's how we learn. What do you think the spear would stand for?
I don't know about the spear, but I'm pretty sure about the globe. The globe is not the globe, but the ball is for the globe. Like,
That's a good idea, but it's really meaning, do you know?
No.
Okay, the spear means the spear should only be on there if we're in a time of war. If we're in a time of war, that is the only time a spear should be on there. And that's because at the very last resort, if you took the flagpole in your hand, you could stab the enemy. Otherwise, you keep it with the spear is like all the time. The eagle should go on there. It stands for freedom, and it technically should only be on there during holidays, the Memorial Day. If you're going to change it out, that's when those are supposed to happen. I could be completely wrong. So if there's somebody out there that knows the full thing, I had to learn this a while ago. So
A long while
it's been a
ago.
long time. So I'm pretty sure I have it somewhat right. But anyway, we have our last part here that And if you have an answer after the question, you feel free to go ahead and participate with the question. But we have a segment that we do, and it's the very end of our show. So we are going to go on to Dear Margaret. People write in questions about our topic, and then after I read their question, I answer. And I give my answer, but since we're all here, I think any of us could answer. So we are going to do Dear Margaret.
Oh wow, someone thought on
Dear
Facebook.
Margaret's here, let's dive right in. Bring your questions, let's
Those trolls.
begin. Life's a real maze. We'll help you with your coping. Dealing with life in this rat race. Honest thoughts, no sugarcoating.
Tell us your tales, your woes, your gripes. No fluff, no bows, just real life type. Sign it clever, let your pen take flight. We'll serve the truth, sharp and bright.
Send us a query, take a lead. No hidden rules, no secrets to keep. Anonymous wisdom that cuts so deep. Dear Margaret's advice you'll want to reap. But in the end, let's admit, we all really don't care, Margaret.
All right. So there we go. So the first question that I have for Dear Margaret, hold on. Let me do the first one. Dear Margaret, my 14-year-old says America was built on stolen land and slavery. How do I respond without sounding defensive? Acknowledge the sins. I mean, there are some ugly parts of our nation, but not everybody was a slave owner. There were many who fought and defended for us to end slavery, including Abraham Lincoln and many, many people. And there are other people who fought to end civil rights, and it continues to go on about that. All nations have those ugly histories of our past, and all nations, really, I don't think there's anyone out there who didn't have slavery. It's still going on today. And we need to highlight the unique redemption that we did have, like abolishing slavery, civil rights, unmatched opportunities, allowing equal rights. I mean, even in today, I would say having the Supreme Court say you cannot have areas for voting based solely on race anymore. Like, you can't have that because it's unfair. It is still racism. So I think that's an important one. Let me answer two questions here, and then you can ask your question. You had your hand raised, so give me 1 second to do a couple of the Dear Margarets. Dear Margaret, school skip founding fathers, but spent time on modern identity politics. Is this deliberate? I absolutely think it's deliberate, but I think also the parents need to get involved of saying, I'm not going to tolerate that. You boys were saying that at your school, they're not allowed to do that. So, I muted the rest of them.
Yeah, we were all on mute. So
Wow.
It's my show. So having the fact that your school doesn't allow it, but I know there are many that do. Do you feel that it's good that they don't talk about it at all, or should there be some conversation about, and maybe a more neutral conversation about it?
just history in general. I mean, going out
history in
there.
general?
I mean, should they?
Should they? No, like, they left out the founding fathers, but they talk a lot about identity politics, meaning like LGBTQ,
I feel
anti-ICE, and all these other things.
should know what's going on about right now, but like they should also know what our country was, what happened in our country, what our country's about.
Right. I think if you just completely erase it,
Yeah,
you forget about it. You need to know what happened in order to not repeat it.
Right.
And that's what mostly happens.
Absolutely.
Like, that's the schools, they like don't really at all talk about it 2 times a year. And
Yeah.
we started history in 4th grade. So first, second, and third grade, no history. Just
I mean, at the same time, you're like 8 years old.
Yeah,
Not gonna
yeah.
worry about
I
it.
can see that in first, second, and third.
Yeah.
But by fourth, fifth,
But at
sixth,
middle school, you should be learning about things.
and you didn't even. Not very
I learned
much.
about, like, barely anything.
Yeah, very little, right?
Yeah,
The only thing I know about is like how voting works.
I
I don't know how to vote. I don't know how to do taxes.
Same. Never mind.
Okay. So, dear Margaret, with the 250th coming, what one thing should every family do this summer? I think every family should read the Declaration of Independence together. I think it would be a great thing. Visit a battlefield or a monument, learn a little history about one of those. Here in the South, the South, were a pretty big proponent of wanting to keep slavery, but not everybody wanted to.
No.
So you have to learn the places. Not everybody wanted to keep slavery, and not every place and not every white person believed in it or wanted it to continue. So we do need to discuss those things, and I think those are important. What does life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness actually mean, and what does it mean today? I think those are important things. I think those are something that a family should cover on the independence of our country. I think the whole month of July should be America Month. You know, we have all the other months. I think July should be America Month, like everything about America for one full month, including
Especially 4th of July.
including the veterans,
Right.
our soldiers, our military, active, past, present, future.
If we wouldn't have had them, we wouldn't be the country that we are now.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Last Dear Margaret question. Did you have a question? You raised your hand a bit ago.
Yeah. Dear Margaret, can we have dinner now? Starving the whole show.
Well, honestly, what we need to do is I think that you should, everyone should diet and wait a little bit so that they.
Program
On
out.
Saturdays, remember?
So what?
yeah.
Program out.
Program out. I didn't even switch it to you. Okay, I'm sorry. Ask your question again.
Dear Margaret, can we have dinner now?
You know what? I think that everyone should have dinner at the appropriate time that dinner is. Yeah,
3 p.m.
we're about to have dinner. We're going to finish the last question. Dear Margaret, how do we stop the cycle so future generations know what America means? How do we change that cycle? Scared of losing our family.
Get involved in your local community. If parents don't step up, don't go to the school board meetings, don't get involved, you have to do that.
I think a good way of responding with that is don't sit on your couch being a couch politician and saying someone else will go do it.
Yeah,
Someone
don't
else
be
will
an-
take
yeah,
care
don't
of
be
it.
an arm bearer.
Get
Yeah.
involved. Do you know the one thing that is really imploding our politics and eroding our politics?
People like that's not voting or like standing up for like what's right.
Correct. And people that are foreign getting into our political seats, and I mean foreign with a negative decision, or they're trying to push an agenda.
Okay,
And
I've got a quick question. Okay, just out of curiosity, if you were to move to say Peru in South America, and you went in there and you expected them to give you everything that you can get here, you don't have to speak the language. You don't have to contribute to their country, to their way of life, but you expect them to give you money. Would that be right for you to be able to go there and do that?
Absolutely not.
When we came here for the summer, you guys, we have to do.
We have to do
guys.
a show of work.
Yeah, you have to
Okay.
do what we're doing.
So right now,
You're on our podcast because this is what we do.
now, I mean, there are so many places in the U.S. that they are 100%. Oh, they can come in here freely. They don't have to assimilate to what we do. In other words, they don't have to speak English. They don't have to abide by our laws. They don't have to. Or they can. They don't have to be a U.S. citizen, and they're going to get. They're going to get benefits from the U.S. taxpayers. They're going to be able to vote. They think they should have all those options.
And financial support.
I feel like if you're going to somewhere, you should learn about them, learn the language, follow what they do.
And be self-sufficient.
I feel like that's
Don't
one
go.
of, one of the like first the thing that's destroying our country mostly.
Like immigrants, illegal immigrants. They're coming into a country. They're stealing jobs for people that can't get jobs.
Well, yeah, they're taking jobs from people that might want the jobs, but it's not. And this is the misunderstanding. It's not that they're taking jobs that Americans won't do. They're taking the jobs that employers give them because the employers are getting a benefit by not paying a full wage because they can pay them less.
Absolutely.
So if they didn't have them to employ, they weren't there, they would have to give a fair wage. Then Americans would want those jobs.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
Americans aren't going to work for under the table $5 an hour where someone else will, because in their home country, $5 an hour is good money.
right. And the other thing is,
And that's just
Right.
throwing numbers out.
right, and I'm sorry, there are certain jobs in the United States that should not be making 10, 15, 20 bucks an hour for what the job actually is.
Well,
I mean, most of your U.S. service members do not make that much an hour.
No, like flipping hamburgers at McDonald's. That's a transition job. That's your first job in high school. That's your first job in the job market. It's to teach you how to have a job, how to go to work on time, how to learn how to do things.
Responsibility.
Yeah, it's a building. It's a stepping stone. And what has been the response from fast food restaurants, different elements out there to the we want more money? What do you have in almost every fast food restaurant now when you walk in to order?
Do you have to go up to the counter and talk to a person to order at every single restaurant you go to? All the McDonald's, all that
No,
other
what
stuff.
do a lot of them have now? It's
Kiosk.
kiosk. You can
Yeah.
just go in and you do
So-
your own
It's
order.
not
You
gonna
don't
work.
So they replaced the employee. They replaced a person with a machine that
Clankers.
doesn't call in sick,
doesn't call in
doesn't
sick.
ask for days off.
Yeah, doesn't have a holiday.
Doesn't need
I mean,
payment.
Doesn't
Right.
get paid. Once they bought it and put it in, it's paid for.
That's
They
that's
don't
it.
have to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So the other part of that is they're getting into our political offices. And I personally believe that if you are from another country, legally immigrated here, that you should not be able to be in a political office. That's my personal opinion. Now, if for some reason we had some rule or regulation of maybe a happy medium there, I think you should be here for 10, 15 years before you should be even eligible. And it should only be in your state, city, local. I don't think you should ever go to the national stage if you are not from this country. And I think that if you've only been here for 6 months, a year, you should not be able to be in any political office
Isn't
whatsoever.
it, for the president, you have to be here you have to be born in the U.S. and be in the U.S. for like a certain amount of years?
You have to be a born American
You have to be
citizen.
born American citizen, and you have to be the age of
35.
35.
35.
You have to be those things to be able to run.
You cannot be a naturalized citizen and become a president here. But that's not the same for Senate, Congress. It's only vice president and president. The rest of them, they can. And that's why we have people like Ilhan Omar. Do you know who Ilhan Omar is?
I got a whole lot of no idea.
Okay, we're going to be talking about some of that later. But that's where it starts, though, is at your local counties and stuff like that. And they get in and they bring their ideology with them. Like in Texas, there is now some places that are really being overrun with Islamic rule, even Sharia law. And we'll go into what some of that is when we do the Let's Talk About Ilhan Omar. But what is happening there is because the town that this is majoritarily happening in is I think it's either 7 or 8 of the 9 county commission and the officials are all Islamic. So if they're all having that ideology, that belief system, and there's only 2 that are America belief system, the Constitution, who's going to win in a vote?
Islamic.
Right.
People
So
consistently-
we can't have towns and cities turning into Islam in this country. That's what's going to be the downfall of this country. So it's very important that we have a defense against our tyranny, knowledge of it, and a history and an understanding of where we came from, who we are, and where we're going, and how we get there, and what's the best way to get there by having community. You see a lot of people on the left, I see it all the time, that are wearing shirts like "Be kind" while destroying property.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like,
Hello, be kind should mean that, and I've talked to many people, being as conservative as I am, that I will still sit down and have a debate with you and a conversation with you. We have a friend that is very Democratic, very liberal, and him and I have some really good debates. And you know what? I love him to death. He loves me to death. My best friend, who I lost, but she hated Trump. Absolute TDS. She definitely could not stand Trump. But you know what? She allowed me to work on my pro-Trump, pro-everything about Trump stuff. When I went to Vegas to her house, she would help me with my boards and help me with the stuff that I was doing because she loved me. And that's something we've lost in this country, is loving each other regardless of what your political beliefs are, having conversation. That's what Charlie Kirk fought for, is to have a conversation. If we stop talking, disaster happens.
Yep.
I think one of the reasons that we stopped talking is because of the internet. Like, people are just on it too much, mostly too much.
Well, yeah. It got too polarizing.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I think we don't need to get to that degree. And I don't think anyone should be so focused on their own side that they can't hear the other possibilities or the other sides, because there might be a different perspective.
Absolutely.
And you might not be right. Now, I have, as somebody who's very staunch with that, I had a big debate with a woman. This was a few years ago. And we were debating about immigration. And we were talking about the Constitution. And I said something, and she came back and said, "That's incorrect. That's not what's in the Constitution." And she gave me what it was. Well, I didn't get mad at her. I went and read it. And I came back, and we were just going back and forth in this thread. And there was a guy in there that would pop in there every now and then, and he would say something derogatory or something this or something that. But her and I just kind of ignored him, and we kept having our conversation. And I came back and I said, I stand corrected. You are right. I was wrong. This is what it says. And I wrote it out verbatim. I actually copied and pasted it in there. And she came back with, wow, I never thought I would hear a conservative admit they were wrong. I said, get to know more of us, because we will admit when we're wrong, and we will say, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Let's fix this. This is how we debate. This is how we have conversation. This is how we move the needle forward.
Yep.
And needless to say, her and I kept talking so much that we actually didn't even know it, but she privately sent me a message and she said, I'm just curious, what part of the country are you in? And she was probably expecting I was in the South or something. I said, I live in Nevada. And she's like, holy shit, I live in Reno. And I'm like, I live in Reno. We both lived in Reno. And we got into this political debate, and she made the suggestion, and she didn't say it in our private conversation. She put it in the comments. She said, we should go have coffee. And you know what the guy who kept stouting and putting his little 2 cents worth in, he had no argument other than, you can't do that. You shouldn't be talking to her. And she's like, you don't have the right to tell me who I can and cannot talk to. And I said, you know, it's a free country. We have freedom. We have freedom of speech, and we have the ability to have a good discussion and debate. And it doesn't mean everyone who is on whatever side it is always going to be right. And you might be able to change some perspectives. And he immediately came back with, well, you're fat. And I was like, okay, first of all, aren't you the side of no body shaming?
Ooh, yeah.
But then I came back with, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm fat? I had no idea. I should go and I don't even own a mirror. I better tell my husband. I don't think he knows. Like, come on. Do you really think I didn't know I was fat? Like, that was what your comeback was?
Yeah.
So needless to say, we definitely have gone over our time. I did say 60 to 90 minutes. So we're right at the 90-minute mark. So, needless to say, Patriots, this 250 isn't just fireworks. It's a reckoning. Teach the history, debate the present. Like I said, past, present, and future, where we're going, where we came from, and what our future could look like. Secure the future. What our kids learn today determines if America endures. What they learn today, what they understand and know about our country today, is what they will teach their children and their children, their children. What we do today will determine tomorrow. And if we stop, literally, we will stop. We will stop being a nation. So God bless you. God bless the United States of America. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you. And I love having you guys here. Are you going to come on our show more often, or every day, or
Every day.
Okay.
Also,
Well, we're looking forward to having you here, and we'll get some life lessons and some a lot of patriotic lessons, because all of our stuff is really more about being patriots than being a political party.
Yep.
Anyway, that's it for us today. Thank you so much for being here. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.
vote Trump.
Watching GurlTauX live broadcast, which airs weekdays at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Don't forget to send in your Dear Margaret questions. Then join us for our opinion-based answers. We love having you. Thanks for taking the time to be with us tonight. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and share with your friends. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night. Good night.
Say goodnight. Good night.